Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Adrian Ryan. I'm a Project Support Officer for FutureLearn. And today I'm joined by my colleague,
Matt Poynton, and I'm a Projects Officer with FutureLearn. And today we're going to be talking about all the free online learning that's out there, or if not all of it, a lot of it. So, yeah, what have you got to say, Adrian?
Right, well, to start off with, everyone, it's a slight change in format today. We've got the Ask a Question button, which you can ask any question you want. But what we're going to try today is we're going to have a go at a challenge Adrian and Matt. Now, when I say challenge Adrian and Matt, it'll be challenging Matt. But what we're going to do is in the chat down the right-hand side, you'll see the chat. If you can think of an online course you'd like to learn, we'll see if we can find it for you, or at least signpost you to it. Just a little bit of an added bit of fun. And I warn you, if you do put the usual one, scuba diving, it will be practical. Not practical, it'll be theory, actually, won't it? And we'll try and find it. So put something down the box. And if someone puts something in there that you know where there's a free online course available, feel free to let people know. We're going to try and keep it interactive. What we're going to do in a minute, we're going to start going through some of the websites where the online learning is. And following on from today, we've just a page has just gone live on the FutureLearn Learning at Home pages, and that lists the websites. And what myself and Matt have managed to do over the last few weeks is we've recorded a series of videos showing you what the websites look like, not just showing you where to sign in, but actually look at a course, looking at some various courses. And we've been joined by some friends and colleagues from unions who have got more knowledge than us on some of the sites. So they've come in and actually done the videos with us. So thanks to them. Have a look at them. We try and keep them as light-hearted as possible, but and we try and give as much information. We'll also have some tips on online learning as we go through as well. And we'll try and show you the good and the bad about some of these sites, because we promote them and they're not all good. There are some bits in there that really annoy me and really annoy Matt. So we'll try our hardest to actually, get through as much information as possible. Feel free. Knitting with Spaghetti. That's Steve Taylor. Not a surprise from Steve. But what we'll do, I don't think we'll find that one, but try and get some courses out. We can find a cooking course for you, and we can find a knitting course for you. Perhaps you can combine them. Matt, do you want to start off then and start going through the sites?
Yeah, kind of. Well, what I've done today, we're a bit different than normal. I've actually got a PowerPoint ready. We are that prepared. So I'm going to use the PowerPoint to kind of talk you through it, but we will be going off tangent at times. And again, encouraging you to look at the videos. So where is my PowerPoint? Where's that gone? Right, can everybody see the PowerPoint? Is that good? Can you see it, Adrian?
No, Matt. All we can see is your screen up. So you've shared. You just need to go back in and unshare and share again, but share the PowerPoint, I think.
Because it does say right. It says it's sharing a window. So let's see about that. What happened there? Right. Okay.
We did have a run through.
Why is it not working? It's not coming up. Let's have a think. Go for your entire screen. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep. Yusuf's going to. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, it'll be made bigger now. There we go. Great.
Excellent. Okay. So this is what we're going to do in this PowerPoint. We're going to go through some of the main sites, okay? And the first one that we're going to talk about is Khan Academy. And as it says here, it's a non-profit educational platform created by a gentleman named Salman Khan with the goal of creating a set of online tools that help and educate students. I'll be honest with you, I'd not had anything to do with this one until the lockdown. I went on and played around on a course with it. I know Adrian's had a play with it before. These are what I think about it at the moment. So I think the courses on Khan Academy They are very basic, but they're very interactive and they're very easy to use. It's really nicely put together in that respect. And you get a load of badges. When you complete learning, you get a badge, and they're astronomically themed. So I think there's like a planet badge and a sun badge and a galaxy and so on like that. So you don't get a certificate, but you do get some proof that you've done some learning. It's really good on maths, sciences, and economics. And as I said before, there's some basic courses. However, on the downside, I think Khan Academy is weak on arts and social sciences. There are some on there. There's some history courses and that, but really not much there. And the courses are not accredited. So that's an overview of Khan Academy. You got anything to say about that, Adrian?
I think the great thing about Khan Academy is you can sign in as a parent, a teacher, or a learner, and you can switch between each one of them. So you can actually just learn yourself. You can support your kids, or if you're ULR, you could set up a number of courses, people in a course, and run a class that way online. But that's about it. That's all I want to add, Matt.
Yeah, we have done a video for Khan Academy, so hopefully that will come up. The link to that one, where it's Adrian and I playing around on it. And so if you're not so confident about logging on, or if you're a ULR and you've got members who aren't so confident, this is a really good resource that you can say, okay, this is how you do it, because we show you how to log on, we show you how to navigate the courses. So that's Khan Academy. I'm going to move on now to, one of my favorites, Duolingo. As the name suggests, it's all about languages, and there's 36 of them on there, from Hindi to High Valerian, which is off Game of Thrones, but they are developing more, and I think there's Hungarian being developed at the moment, and I think Czech as well. So just keep coming back. If the language you want isn't there, they are developing some, and there's some minority languages. There's like Navajo Indian, and then there's our own Welsh is there as well as the big languages like Spanish, German, and of course, if you're a non-native speaker, English as well, and that is perhaps unsurprisingly the most popular. Okay, what do we like about it? Duolingo, they test your level. So when you go on, you can do a little test to see if you know some of the language already. So, for example, I studied French at school, didn't pass, but I've got a bit of French, so I could do the little test and see where I am, and then start at the right place. You can earn badges with it. It's actually a gamified platform. And so it works like a computer game where you don't just earn badges, you go through levels, and there are 10 leagues that you can progress through. And if the more you do every week, the more you go up the leagues. And if you don't do much, you drop down. And it works on the same spaced repetition principle as some of you might be familiar with the Ranks platform, where by doing a little bit often, you learn more than doing big chunks. Great thing about Duolingo, it's available on the phone, so you can be on the train or whatever and just do your 5 minutes of Duolingo a day, and it prods you if you haven't done it. Bad one, it says because the course progresses with you, there's no completion date or certificate at the end. That's actually not entirely true. There is an end, but the course is so big. I mean, I'm doing Spanish, and if I did a level a day, it would take me 800 days to do the Spanish. And if I was doing a lesson a day, it would take me 4 times as long. So essentially, yes, there is no real end to the course, because very few people actually finish the whole of the language tree. That's not the point. It's about progressing your way through. And of course, they're not accredited. We've done a video on this, but Adrian, what have you got to say about Duolingo?
Just one thing, really. I mean, it is a great site. If you want to see how poor my German is, watch the video. And how good Matt's Spanish is, watch the video. I mean, I really like it. You do get reminders, so it is fairly structured in that you need to do a bit each day, and you need to learn, but not a lot each day. You can choose how long you learn each day. And like with all these courses, everything we're going to show you today, you can have a go. If you don't like it, you're not paying for it. That's the trick. You're not paying for it. if you find something, and some courses are very similar on different platforms. So you might find one platform doesn't work for you, yet another one does. And it's really about perseverance. And with online learning, you need a bit of motivation. So sometimes it's good to sign up to a course like this where you've got a bit of a schedule where you keep being reminded, just to get in the mindset, actually, I want to do some learning. One of the first courses that someone's asked for along the side was about mental health, adolescent mental health. There is a course on FutureLearn called Anxiety in Children and Young People During COVID-19. That is on FutureLearn. It's 2 hours a week for 2 weeks, a fairly short course. And that is talking about how COVID-19 has affected people's anxiety. But I suppose in some ways that could be any issue that could have affected the mental health, and the support there for that will probably go across a whole multitude of different, issues that young people may have. So you can have a look at that. That's free to sign up, run by the University of East Anglia. Sign up to FutureLearn, go in, do the course, and see how that actually happens. So keeps them coming down the side. I see someone's put the a response to the spaghetti knitting. Thanks for that. Saves me trying to find it. We should move on, Matt.
Okay, yeah. One thing I would say about Duolingo that I forgot to say before is if you are studying a language which uses a different alphabet to English, so Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Greek, something like that, that can be a bit problematic sometimes. But there are extensive help areas in Duolingo where they'll show you how you can convert your keyboard to type in the letters of that other alphabet. And I'm going to play on that with Russian. I've done a basic bit of Russian on there. And once you get in the hang of it, it works. And yeah, Adrian says how good my Spanish is. Before the lockdown, I didn't have any Spanish. So I can say to a degree, Duolingo is working for me. And I'm on 70-odd days of my of continuous study. It measures streaks, and I'm on a 70-odd day streak. So I'm quite proud of that. Anyway, moving on. OpenLearn. Right, this one is basically, as the name suggests, it's the Open University, right? And they run it as their kind of social conscience side, where what it started off as extracts of OU courses that were offered as, free taster courses almost. There's more than that on there now, but a lot of the courses are extracts from the real OU courses. What that means, it's good they're of a high standard, not the highest standard. There are other ones that we will come to later where we think the standard's higher, but they are a good standard. They're academically rigorous, and they're interactive videos. So there are videos, there's audios, that kind of stuff. And my absolute favorite thing about OpenLearn, when you complete it, you can print off a free certificate with Open University on it. Okay, it's not an accreditation, but it's proof of learning, and they're the only one I think that does that for free. And the certificate has two sides of A4, and one is you've completed the course, and the other actually breaks down what you studied in the course. And I think that's really good, because if you're applying for an academic institution, so say I wanted to do a degree in psychology, I could do several psychology courses on OpenLearn, print off the certificates, and then submit them with my application to say, look, actually, you know what? I'm already halfway there, and I've done these at university level. And of course, that's why the Open University run the site, is they hope to get people studying on OU courses. And on a personal level, I did some creative writing courses, and then later went and paid for a course with them. The bad side, nothing really basic. It is a university. There are some basic courses, but it's aimed at university level stuff. The range of courses is good, but it doesn't cover everything. And some of them can be a bit niche or specific in the respect that they are extracts of larger courses by and large. So if I use my psychology example, you won't find a psychology diploma on there, but you might find a short course on criminal psychology or forensic psychology or something like that, an aspect of a larger whole. So yes, some of them can be a bit niche, and of course they're not accredited. Adrian, OpenLearn.
Yeah, another excellent site. I mean, we will go into FutureLearn, which for me is is a really good site. Someone's just put in their creative writing, and we'll cover that in FutureLearn, although the course is also on OpenLearn. Matt will cover that when we get to it, or I will. Someone asked for origami, origami.me. There's video diagrams and videos about all different things that you can actually, different animals you can make. So have a look at that one. That's not one we would promote normally. It's just something I've found for you. So Matt, let's go on to the next site.
Okay. Next one is FutureLearn. FutureLearn is also done by the Open University. It's another one of theirs, but unlike OpenLearn, where the Open University run the site and then run all the courses on the site, FutureLearn get outside organizations in, so specialists in the field. So I put here, you can learn Korean from Korean experts. So I did a course on Japanese subcultures, and it was run by Keio University in Japan, which was, that was pretty cool. I did an introduction to Dutch, and it was done by Groningen University in the Netherlands. So that's it. The Open University do run some courses on there, but most of them are by world leaders in the field. And so the quality, in my opinion, is second to none. Really high standard and loads of interactive elements, loads of videos, loads of interactive quizzes. Most of them have an assessment with a little test at the end. And the academic rigor is there. So, and what's also nice, because what's different about OpenLearn, you can go on a course anytime and you can complete the course whenever you want to. With FutureLearn, they have specific start dates. And the reason for that is so much of the course on FutureLearn is done in the message board. So under each page, there's a comments, and you have this academic discussion with the other students. You learn from each other like you would in a real university, and the tutors are on there too. So you're actually getting support from real university tutors online, and it's free, but it's also not, because although the courses are free, if you want the certificate and you want access to the resources after the window which the course is open, you do have to pay there. By the way, if you do sign up, the certificates are good. The bad side, nothing basic. Again, it's university level stuff. Again, like OpenLearn, they can be a bit niche and specific. An introduction to Japanese subcultures is certainly a pretty specific course. So it might be you want to just have a look through and see what they've got and see if it's something that piques your fancy. There are some accredited options that exist, but you do have to pay for that. And again, as I said, if you do the free version, after a while, the window closes and you can't access that course anymore. Talked about the creative writing. I think the University of East Anglia does some of those, and they are actually a UK leader in creative writing. So you are learning from the best, and there's also some Open University ones on there as well, from what I can remember. Adrian, anything about FutureLearn?
Right, so the creative writing is called Start Writing Fiction, and that's on FutureLearn and OpenLearn. Do it on FutureLearn. Some of the courses on FutureLearn aren't time specific. You can join at any time. Some of them are time specific because they're run by tutors, as Matt said. So you work collaborative. With the Start Writing Fiction, that's free. Join any time. There's also one introduction to screenwriting, and sometimes they have a community journalism one on there as well. So people have asked for creative writing. Go to FutureLearn, Start Writing Fiction. Fantastic course. I've done it. Really, really good. There's also loads of different ones around forensic science. There's lots of health courses on there as well. And they are run. So if you take forensic science, I think it was Strathclyde University who run it. And that's it's Introduction to Forensic Science. And they do different types of forensic science as well. And they're just fascinating courses. Again, just I couldn't emphasize enough. If it isn't for you, don't worry. Try something different. If you wanted to go and do a French course, for example, and you went to college and there was 70 quid to do the course, and you got there and it wasn't for you, you'd waste 70 quid. Have a look online first. You can use online learning as a way of seeing if it's a subject you really want to go into more detail. Like Matt did with his creative writing, he done an OpenLearn, FutureLearn course, and then went on and done degree level course in creative writing, I understand, Matt. So you can use it as a sort of a taster. But FutureLearn's a fantastic site, and I think once you start looking at FutureLearn and do a course on FutureLearn, you'll keep going back. You really will. It's my favourite site of all of them, actually.
Yeah, what I will say as well, you know, if you do want to pay, you can pay individually for courses, or there's like a 200 quid package for the whole year. And you know, particularly, I think if you were retired or if you have the time, I think that's excellent value, actually. It might be you're a ULR and you're trying to increase people's learning in the workplace. Can you convince employers to use some of their CPD budget to pay for those packages for people? Might be worthwhile. So that's something to think about. Again, I said earlier, like Khan Academy was weak on humanities. FutureLearn's good on them. As is, I think it's the next one. Yes, our next one, which is Coursera. Now, I had never heard of Coursera before the lockdown. And I was actually researching Khan Academy and read that Coursera had been inspired by Khan Academy. And I thought, what on earth is Coursera? So I had a look, and it's basically like FutureLearn. It's the American version of FutureLearn. The two sites are very, very similar. If you like Coursera, you will like FutureLearn and vice versa, I think. They're not identical, but as my thumbs up will show, there's basically the same thing going on there. I personally find the FutureLearn site easier to navigate. I find it a more user-friendly and a more colourful site. I prefer the FutureLearn site, the way it's organised. However, Coursera probably has a bigger range of courses. And the courses, they do seem to be a bit longer. So FutureLearn has a lot of like 2 or 3 week courses. And I've done 3 or 4 Coursera ones now, and they're all about 6 or 8 weeks. But aside from that, they're basically the same. You know, it's free, but you don't get the certificate, or you can pay and then you get a certificate. Unlike FutureLearn, though, there seem to be a lot more courses that are always open rather than time specific. There seem to be more of those. Have I missed something with Coursera there, Adrian?
No, I think you probably cover Coursera. I've not seen. Like you. I'd heard of it before. I'd seen it around when looking through a couple of other sites. I'd seen it mentioned, but in our video where you showed it to me, that's probably the first time I've actually gone into great detail. But I did like it. It was very similar to FutureLearn. But yeah, let's move on to the next one, Matt.
Yeah, what I will say before we move on, all of these sites we've mentioned, Coursera, FutureLearn, OpenLearn, and Khan Academy, we have done videos for these. So if you are interested, go on that Learning at Home page. The link will be at the side, and have a look on the videos. And they're normally about 25 minutes long, I think, aren't they, Adrian?
Yes, some are shorter, some are longer. Depends how far into the learning we actually go. We try and give you a flavour of the course and that, and also they're even like Duolingo one's longer because we show you what it's like to start off, and then what it looks like further down the line when you've actually done a lot more learning, like Matt had actually done on that video. So they are there. Have a look at them, and more importantly, have a look at the sites and see what you want to learn, really.
Okay, next up, GCF Global. Now, we need to thank our ULF projects here, because I'd never heard of this. When I was putting together a list of free resources, a couple of them, and I can't remember who one of them were, but the other one was Aegis. They sat there and said, we use GCF, they're really good. Never heard of them at all. It comes from the Goodwill Foundation. It's an American charity. And they offer tutorials in, as this says, largely tech stuff. So they're really good with digital skills, and they're really good with the kind of maths. Again, like Khan Academy, bit weak with the humanities. I'm not experienced in these, but we did do a video on these, which is on the Learning at Home page. and we did it with Mary from Aegis, and she talked us through her experience with it. So we have got an expert for you to talk about it. But again, high standard, lots of interactive elements. You don't need to register, but you can create an account if you want. And there's some really good beginner stuff here. And it talks about a wide variety of courses from Microsoft Office, but there's also different versions of Microsoft Office on there. So if you've got an older version, you can still learn on it. And there's no, start dates or anything like that. Again, the usual downsides, not accredited. Range of courses is good, but it's weak on some areas, particularly humanities, I would say. And it's an American site, so you might be used to some of the spelling and vocabulary differences, that kind of stuff. And anything else about GCF, Adrian?
No, I mean, since Mary showed us a site, which was only last week, and we went through and had a look at it, I've had a look at the photography course on there, and it is very good. I mean, I was impressed with it, and it's not too heavy as well, which is a good thing. But certainly when we look at lots of Alison.com, which has got Excel courses, one of the downsides is the adverts, whereas the GCF Excel courses haven't. So it's really about finding the right platform for you, and also, with GCF, it does have a wide range, but it's probably not as wide a range as some of the other sites that we actually ever look at. But it's definitely worth a look at GCF. I did like it, and doing a little piece of learning since has really shown that it is quality.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think one of the things is don't just go for the first course you find. If you're after Photoshop, for example, try GCF. Try Alison, try other platforms, and there are differences in the quality. Another thing is, if you're particularly interested in digital skills, there are a whole heap of sites out there that would be worth your while looking at, and we've put together a video. I don't know if it's up on the site yet, but it will be up soon if it isn't up already, where we look with a digital skills experts from PCS at various sites that are out there. And there's a real host of stuff for people to explore. Sites like Udemy, Code Academy. There was a BBC Academy one I'd never even heard of before, and a variety of others. And I mean, that was, even making that video was a journey of exploration for us. And but some of those you do have to pay. I will say that. Okay, next up, Alison. Alison, I think most people will be aware of. Alison's the biggie, more courses than anyone else. It's often been used for years on our ULF projects as a really good place to signpost because of the range of the courses. The range is huge. If nobody else has got it, Alison probably will have it. And like with FutureLearn and Coursera, when you complete a course, if you want to, you can pay for a certificate. Not accredited, though. The bad side. Now, some courses, when I did them, and admittedly it was a while back, I'm not a big fan of Alison. One of the things is there was a number of typos and errors in the courses. I do not think the quality is up there with some of the ones we've mentioned. Well, all of the ones we mentioned earlier. I think the quality is not there. Also, Alison is not British. I believe the platform is Irish, but it seems to be aimed more for the American market. And that you need to be careful about that, because if you're enrolling on a course, for example, dealing with the law, so, property law or criminal law or anything like that, you're talking about a different legal system. So what you're learning is irrelevant. So do be careful if you enroll on one of these online courses, not just with Alison, but with a number of platforms. If it's anything to do with legal issues, you might be completely wasting your time because you might be using a different legal system. So make sure the course talks about British law if you're doing that. And yeah, that's about that. I'm not a big fan of this platform, but Adrian, what about you?
I do like Alison. I think Alison's a really good site. I think the great thing about Alison is if you're talking about IT courses, The good thing about it is it's actually got different versions of the Excel, the Access, the PowerPoint, the Word. It's so if you've got an older version of it, you can actually do a course on that older version. Quite often, sometimes depending on your employer, you may have a more up-to-date version at home than you have at work, or vice versa. So you can actually do the training on the version that you've actually got. I think that's really, really important. And the range is massive. I mean, I know when in the video we managed to find stuff around carpentry and plumbing, and it's practical. It's actually theory. So to show you, it's a good course to do. So you've got a lot of the theory there. The downside are, it does have adverts in the courses, and sometimes that can get a bit annoying. But on the other side of that, sometimes it just allows you to just take in what you've just learned. So you're having a little pause between the next piece of learning. I do like it. I would recommend having a look at it. And I recommend actually trying a few courses on there. I know where Matt's coming from, because sometimes it does feel a bit cluttered on the screen, and what looks like a big piece of learning is actually an advert, and you'll click on it and then it takes you to a different site. So there is that element of it, but I do think there is some quality learning on there as well. I think, again, the quality does vary, but then and that is via the subject matter. But there are some really good pieces on. There's also sort of more how can you put it, less serious learning, less sort of work orientated, vocational orientated learning. So there are some soft skills on there as well. So yeah, have a look at it. Again, these are our opinions. We've looked at loads of platforms, loads of courses. What we think might not be up to a really high standard, you might actually really like it. And likewise, we might think it's really good, and you think actually no, it's not that good. So it's really about personal choice, and that's what online learning is really. Sometimes you'll find something you want to do, and sometimes you'll find something that you start and you think, oh, this is awful. This is not me. And the beauty of it, if it's free, delete, start something else.
Yeah. I mean, the adverts did annoy me and sometimes they flash up and they're a bit deceitful, because they look like it's press here for the learning, and when you press on it, it goes on to something else. And maybe my criticism's a little harsh, because when I was working on one of the projects a few years ago, we had a lot of problems that Alison wouldn't work on certain browsers, and I believe that those problems have been fixed now. So yeah, that's that. Okay, I'll move on. National Numeracy Challenge. Now, we don't actually have a video for this one yet. We hope to do one on that, but it's all about maths and making maths accessible. If you've ever been to the FutureLearn conference, they normally have a stand there, and they give out lots of free badges, I seem to remember. But it has both initial assessments and maths courses. So if you want to get your maths up to scratch, it could be a good place to go. You can assess your math skills before you start, a bit like the Duolingo. You assess your language skills, and you get a free certificate at the end. And I'm a sucker for a free certificate. So yeah, and it's specially designed for people who do struggle a bit with their maths or find it a bit daunting. So yeah, that's good. Bad thing, it's only maths. So if you don't want maths, don't go there, really, because you won't find anything else. And again, not accredited. Adrian, National Numeracy.
Yeah, I think it's another good site. It is only maths, Matt, because it is National Numeracy, but it is really good. And again, what you can do if you want to promote some numeracy in your workplace, people are quite happy to wear. I always say this when I go around. People are quite happy to wear a badge saying I'm crap at maths, and they hold it as a badge of honour that they know that their maths isn't great. You wouldn't do the same if it was your English, your reading and your writing, because there is a stigma there. So if people do want to improve the maths, have a look at it. That's about as much more as I can say.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. And they're all the ones that we're kind of going to talk about separately. Just trying to think. We do actually have a video about the BBC Bitesize, don't we? So do you want to mention that, Adrian? Because I know you're quite a fan of that one.
Yeah, BBC Bitesize. Well, I mean, I'm a fan of the BBC, full stop. the BBC website has got masses of resources on it, and with the BBC Bitesize, you've got your English and your English and maths on there. One of the things as well the BBC have done really well is during the pandemic is lessons for kids. So if your kids are at home trying to learn, there's loads of daily lesson courses. You can select it by year, by age, because that your child may not always be up to the level of which year they're in, so you can actually go through the different age groups and different key stages. So I think it's a really good site. You mentioned the BBC Academy as well. If you're interested in social media and publishing, so you're thinking about blogging, things like that, there is some cracking resources there on BBC Academy. That is a really good site. And what you'll generally find as well, there's BBC Food. There are other archived BBC Learning courses as well on there. And once you start looking at what the BBC website's got to offer, there is masses of content. And I like the BBC Bitesize simply because it's just so easy to navigate. And the primary school stuff a lot of it is linked to their programs as well. So if it's a child learning, they can actually learn via some of the programs that are on CBBC. So it'll be content they're actually more likely to be interested in than saying sit down and do a maths course, or sit down and do an English or history. So there are some really, really good, things about the BBC site that I think it's really worth having a look at.
Okay. Well, I mean, what we will say is we've got our two websites up there. During the lockdown, we've had the Learning at Home project. I mean, these webinars are part of that. And what we've done is we've gone out there and we've tried to find loads of different resources, and we've put them all on the Learning at Home website list. So do have a look on there, because there's a lot more on there than we've talked about. And also the stuff on there that's free now, but may not usually be available or be free. It may be available, but you have to pay for it. So, for example, there are a lot of tours of famous historical sites or zoos or that kind of stuff that they may not normally be available, because normally you can go to those places. For example, our partners in the WEA, a lot of their courses, I mean, they do offer a lot of free courses anyway, but some of them you have to pay for. Whereas now, during the lockdown, they're offering everything for free. And they're quite interesting because you actually get a tutor live in a Zoom meeting. So it's more like a classroom environment. It's more interactive than usual. So you might want to check out the WEA stuff, but there's loads of stuff on the Learning at Home site. And of course, UnionLearn and TUC Education have got their own free resources. So Skill Check is our free online skills checker. We've got the Value My Skills cards, where you can give yourself an holistic skills check to see where you are and what you need to improve and so on. And of course, the TUC Education have e-notes, which are on a variety. I mean, the range of those keeps expanding, and they are generally tailored towards reps, but not everything. There's also like a write now, read now, that kind of stuff. Is there anything on there I've not mentioned, Adrian?
No, I think with the Learning at Home, there's a couple of things I do want to mention. We've got Learning at Home. There's an area for Learning at Home for your children, which lists some other resources on there as well. And we've got BBC on there, but there are other sites as well on there that you can look at. And we've also put on there now are some free online virtual tours of places as well. So it's not just for kids, because you can do virtual tours of the Great Wall of China. I think Machu Picchu's on there. There's museums, so they've got the National Gallery. You can do a virtual tour of the National Gallery on there, the Natural History Museum. So because they're closed at the moment, it's well worth looking at and seeing if you want to visit any of them. You can do a virtual tour, and then when they reopen, hopefully, you'll be able to visit them and take the kids along and actually have a look. Oh, if you've not got kids, go along and have a look yourself, because there's some fascinating stuff on there. We've just had a few comments down the side, Matt, I want to cover. There was one.
And I'll go back. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody, because I can't see you at the moment. So I can see you now, because okay.
Right.
So first of all, has the screen stopped sharing?
Yes, Matt, you're fine. Right. Okay, so someone put, I think it was Liz, put down around autism. And I know some people responded there, both Bakers and POA Learning. POA Learning, one of the centres at POA Learning, one of the staff, the centre managers there, runs an autism support group out in Kent, and there's lots of resources available there, so it might be worth getting in touch. Thanks to my colleague Pauline for putting about the national numeracy, just highlighting some of the other areas of it, which is really key, that when you do the national numeracy, you can actually see where you are weaker, and then there's the resources there to help you improve, I think, which is really good, because you don't just want to find out you're weak somewhere, you want to be able to find out how you can improve that. So that is really good. I'm just scrolling down our list. So we've had you mentioned the WEA. There's loads of stuff on COVID at the moment. Every single platform has got something on COVID. Every time I turn the telly on, there's something on COVID. The radio, there's COVID. So, I think people sometimes, if you want to find out more about COVID, there's loads there, absolutely loads there. But, we try to review some different things as well as not just COVID. These courses are there all year round. Absolutely there all year round. There's no reason why you can't do any of these. This is not specifically COVID. This is a presentation that me and Matt actually give in workplaces and around the country in ULR forums. So we've always signposted people to these sites. So these are really good at the moment, because some people are at home, but likewise there's some people who are key workers and people are actually at work. We mustn't forget people have been at work all the way through this. So actually some of the online learning might suit them better around at the end of the day, or when they do have some time to learn.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going through these comments because I haven't seen these, because when I was screen sharing, somebody put up Cornish, which I know Duolingo don't offer yet, but then there was a gocornish.org link, so that's brilliant. And somebody's actually offering some free online Cornish learning. That's amazing. People have asked about ESOL sites. Now, there's loads of ESOL out there. Loads of ESOL. Good starting places might be to contact Nat Eckler, NATETLA, and they're like a kind of professional body for ESOL teachers. So they will have a very comprehensive list. But also, I used to be an ESOL teacher, and there was so much. TEFL.com was a good one. Dave's ESL Cafe was a good one. And there was one, there was a Japanese English learning site called Genki English, which was full of games for kids to play. Really, really good stuff. So you might want to try out some of those. But my knowledge is a bit dated in that area. But there is so much ESOL out there. It really, we could do a 2-hour session on ESOL sites, because, of course, people are learning it all around the world.
Yeah, ESOL as well. You've got the British Council. I think it was a Nexus project. They've got loads of videos on there, which would help if someone's reading and writing and is not up to a standard for them to learn online. So have a look at that. Just looking down the questions now. Someone's asked for a copy of the webinar. The webinar is being filmed, so it will be available to watch again. If you can face me and Matt doing this again.
They're also on our YouTube channel. So if you go on our YouTube channel, all the past webinars are on there. So if you missed the laughter yoga or the tackling isolation, they're all on there. Go on our YouTube channel.
Right. In the questions, Lorraine's asked for information on providers who deliver tutor-led courses. Now, obviously, at the moment, because of COVID, tutor-led courses are not running. One of the things you can do is go to the TUC Education website and see if there's a TUC Education Centre near you, and speak to the TUC Education Coordinator. There'll be an email address so you can do that. So once courses are delivered face-to-face, they may well be able to signpost you to specific courses. There is a pot of funding called SAM funding, that's SAM, that some trade unit studies departments use, and they can deliver one-day courses around that, and they can be based on really anything, providing you get enough numbers and the duration's long enough.
Can I go in here, Adrian? There's Carol courses, and I do think PCS may be running a learning to draw course. They were in their Northwest region. I think that might be open to everyone. So if there is anyone from PCS on there, if you could confirm that, because they were running Zoom art courses on some basic drawing techniques. But I do know there are a lot of art courses with art giving free tutorials, and I only know because my brother's an artist and he tells me he's been listening to them in the car radio. But although they're ones you could watch as well, but so they are out there. And if people want to list, what I'll do is I'll get in touch with him and ask him, because he's the expert in the field, about where would you go for some free art courses.
Right. Firstly, sorry, I've just seen the question about accessing the Union Learning Fund. Now, the Union Learning Fund is a fund that's provided from the government for people who don't know, and it goes to individual unions who bid in for a project. Now, depending, I think it's Gareth who asked the question, depending which union you are, will be dependent on what funding is available. So what you need to do is you can contact one of us, and we can signpost you to the relevant union, the relevant project worker or project manager who can say what's available. One of the things myself and Matt do is we do offer a range of sort of courses where we will go out into workplaces and deliver things around creative writing, CVs, value my skills, resilience. There's loads of different courses that we offer as 1 hour tasters. But they tend to be organised by the Union Learning Fund project workers, so that's the route in for us to do that. If people are interested in an illustration course or art, we can actually source that. It would be set up as a Zoom stroke or Microsoft Teams, depending on which systems are accessible for you, and we can actually get that run by one of our colleagues who does illustration. But there's loads of stuff we are able to help with, and if your first port of call really for Union Learning Fund is your union and your union project workers, and most of them know us or have come across us in the past, so they can approach us and speak to us about anything if there's anything available for you in your area.
Yeah, we've had a couple of questions. I'm just trying to find the name. Oh, where is it? Lorraine Fisher has asked about information on any providers who deliver tutor-led courses. And then she said...
I've just covered that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to say WAA as well.
Yeah.
So all of theirs, free at the moment, tutor-led on Zoom.
Yeah. So that is an option for tutor-led. Moving forward, there will be the option once colleges reopen, and I know a large number of colleges have got quite a bit of funding because they've not spent it. So it's a case of, if you're a union learning rep or you're a project, approaching the colleges and seeing what they can do for you. It is at the moment. It was summed up to me from someone from a college. It was a buyer's market at the moment. So really, I think it's a case of speaking to your local colleges. If there's a trade union studies department in there, please go to them first, because they may well have links into the college, and the minute it's a union involved, there may be other ways of securing the funding as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dom has mentioned Harvard University offer free courses. They do, and they're not the only one. I know Yale and a few of the others do, and a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, has been doing some of the Yale courses and found them really good. So that's another thing to have a look at.
Yeah, one of the sites you can find a lot of other American courses is called Open Culture, and that's an American site. And on there, they've got loads of resources. When you open it up, there's thousands of courses. A lot of the courses FutureLearn are called MOOCs, MOOC, and it's massive open online content. On Open Culture, you'll see a tab for MOOCs. There's over 1,000, and that again is all courses run by American universities and also European universities. And when you look, you'll see Coursera, you'll see FutureLearn, you'll see OpenLearn in there. So it's not just, you'll have Harvard, you'll have Yale, you'll have you'll have major universities. You have University of Stockholm, I think there's another one I've seen on there off the top of my head. So that's Open Culture, and that's a different one. We've not done a review of that because it's so broad, because there's as it says culture, there's loads of free. You can actually watch some old movies. You can see not previously unseen footage. It's worth just having a look to see the variety on there. Peter John Fox, what do you think about MOOCs? Well, MOOCs are FutureLearn. They are MOOC courses. So the FutureLearn courses are MOOCs, and I love them. I know Matt does as well. So we think they're really good. FutureLearn was set up really to try and bring higher education to people when tuition fees came in. So when FutureLearn first started, I signed up for one of the first courses, which was Introduction to Forensic Science. So that was the idea behind FutureLearn. OpenLearn, the resources are there, but they're not structured in the same way, whereas FutureLearn was an attempt to really get all the universities around the UK's name up in lights and give people a taste of what it's like to go to university or do a university course. So that's what a MOOC. That's my. I think the MOOCs are great, and I think it's fantastic that people who wouldn't previously have the chance to learn these sort of subjects at that level now have had an opportunity and get an opportunity to try it out, and then with a bit of luck, you'll go back as a mature student and do a full degree course. That's the aim of it.
Yeah, I've got something else to say on there that I didn't mention earlier. Is another time when it may be really good to do like a Coursera or a FutureLearn course, maybe when you're, say, 16, 17, 18, and you're at school and you're thinking about going to university. Well, try these out, because I know when I was that age, I didn't know what I wanted to study, really. Some people are really focused and they know, but maybe I could, try out a psychology course, try out a sociology course, try out a politics course, see what you're interested in, see which ones are actually suited to you at university level. And then when you're applying, say, look, not only have I got these A levels or AS levels or GCSEs or whatever, but I've also done this learning off my own back. It's not going to harm your application. So it could be good for helping if you've got kids who are in that position, helping guide them towards what's best for them, because so many students back in the day used to start a course and then find out it wasn't really for them and try and transfer after a year, and there's a year gone then, which when you're paying fees is a lot of money. So that might be another application that we've not talked about before.
Yeah, and I know Pam just mentioned the WA in Wales. I mean, this is a great thing about online learning. We are free online learning. We don't have the funding restrictions that you have across the different nations in England, which are so frustrating for us, because there's different projects across different nations, and what works in England doesn't work in Wales, isn't allowed to work in Wales, and Scotland's got something different. At least with these free online learning courses, they're global. They're not just in the UK. A lot of them, people from all over the world join in these courses. So I think what you've got to really, that's one thing where if you are promoting them, you haven't got to worry whether there is funding to run this course, because unless you pay an individual pays themselves, there's no cost to most of them. Right, Matt, I think we've probably covered most of the questions. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, the challenge, Matt, wasn't too stressful, apart from Steve throwing in the spaghetti knitting, which thankfully someone answered. The other courses, hopefully, we've covered. All we can say is, have a look at the UniLearn website, Learning at Home, and all the other resources we got on there. There will be another webinar in a couple of weeks' time. You can watch previous webinars by clicking on the link that's on the screen now, or just go into the UniLearn site and clicking on webinars. And it's worth having a look around just to see what's available. What you can do, you can contact us at UniLearn. We're easily accessible. If you got any questions that you didn't feel you wanted to ask, I always say there's no such thing as a stupid question, but then I ask them all the time. So if you felt uncomfortable asking a question in the chat or on the Ask a Question, you can contact us. We can have a chat with you about it and anything else that we're doing. All I'll say to you is please enjoy your learning. If you've got colleagues, friends, family, promote it as wide as you can, because learning can be fun and should be accessible to everyone. And there's no reason why you can't get a really good skill off the back of one of the sites that we promote. Any closing words, Matt, before we finish?
Well, yes, I have one thing. You mentioned we've got a webinar in a couple of weeks' time, but we've also got, for those of you who were at our Laughter Yoga, the webinar last week, We've got some smaller sessions with Robin Graham from Laughter Yoga. I think, I may be wrong on this, they're limited to 15 people per session. So you go on the Learning at Home, the UniLearn website, and sign up for them. But I'd sign up for them quick because I think they're filling up. So yeah, if you liked the Laughter Yoga, or if you missed it and think you might like it, get on there. We've got some free sessions in Laughter Yoga, and that's about it for me. Just try it out. If it doesn't work for you, doesn't matter. You haven't wasted any money on it, and it should be fun. If you're not enjoying it, leave the course. Start a new one. Start one that you're enjoying. But yeah, and thank you for listening to us today.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye.